The cold December wind howled outside as Lisa locked the front door of her suburban home. The house was too big for one person, but she had grown up in it, and after her parents moved to Florida, she stayed behind, unwilling to let go of the memories. She had always loved being alone until tonight. Lisa curled up on the couch with a cup of cocoa, the flickering glow of the television the only light in the room. The quiet hum of the refrigerator and the occasional creak of the house settling were familiar sounds, ones she had always found comforting. But tonight, something felt different. A floorboard creaked upstairs. Lisa froze. The sound was unmistakable, a slow, deliberate step, then another. Her heart pounded in her chest. She lived alone. She muted the TV and listened. Silence. Lisa shook her head, forcing a laugh.
Just the house settling.
Still, she grabbed her phone and checked the security app. All doors and windows were locked. No motion detected, just paranoia. She exhaled, took a sip of her cocoa, and turned the volume back up. But no more than a few minutes passed before she heard it again, this time closer. A footstep, then the faint sound of breathing. Lisa's blood ran cold. She reached for her phone with trembling fingers and texted her best friend Megan.
I think someone's in my house.
Megan's response was immediate and urgent.
WTF? Call 911!
Lisa hesitated. Was she overreacting? She had checked the security app, everything was fine, but her gut screamed otherwise. The next sound shattered any illusion of safety, a door upstairs creaking open. Lisa bolted off the couch and ran into the kitchen, grabbing the largest knife from the drawer. She dialed 911, but just as the call connected, the line cut off. No signal. Her breath hitched. That was impossible. She had full bars just a minute ago. The creaking continued, slow and deliberate. Whoever was up there wasn't trying to hide anymore. Lisa had to get out. She bolted for the front door, fingers fumbling with the lock. But as she twisted the knob, it wouldn't budge. It was as if it had been sealed shut. The deadbolt turned easily, but the door itself wouldn't open. She yanked harder, panic setting in. Behind her, a floorboard groaned. Lisa spun around. The house was dark, the glow from the TV casting eerie shadows. At the top of the stairs stood a figure, its outline barely visible in the dim light. A man. Too tall, too thin. His head tilted unnaturally to one side. Then he spoke.
You shouldn't be here alone.
Lisa screamed, backing against the door, slamming her fists against it, praying it would give. The man took a step forward, then another. His movements were slow, almost calculated. Suddenly, the lights flickered, then went out completely. Lisa was plunged into darkness. Her breath came in shallow gasps. The sound of footsteps descending the stairs made her stomach lurch. She dropped to the floor, crawling towards the kitchen. If she could just make it to the back door. A hand grabbed her ankle. Lisa kicked violently, connecting with something solid. A low grunt echoed through the darkness. She scrambled to her feet, sprinting toward the back door. But just as she reached for the handle, the sensation of cold breath against her neck froze her in place.
You can't leave.
Lisa spun around, swinging the knife wildly, but there was nothing there, just empty space. The house was silent again. Shaking, she felt along the wall, searching for a light switch. When the lights flickered back on, she was alone. The man was gone. Her phone buzzed in her hand, a text from Megan.
Police are on their way. Hang tight.
Lisa exhaled, her entire body trembling. Was it a break-in, a hallucination? Had she imagined the whole thing? A knock at the front door made her jump.
Police!
Lisa rushed to open it, relief flooding through her. 2 officers stood outside, scanning her with concern. She recounted everything. The footsteps, the locked door, the figure at the top of the stairs. One officer walked inside while the other stayed with her. Moments later he returned, shaking his head. Lisa's stomach twisted. There's no one here, ma'am. No signs of forced entry. She stopped, the words catching in her throat. The officer held up a photograph. a faded black and white picture of a man with an unsettlingly familiar tilted head.
This house belonged to a family back in the 60s. The father went mad and killed them all, then himself.
Lisa felt the air leave her lungs.
The weird thing, no one's lived here since.
Lisa's legs buckled. The officer caught her as her vision blurred, her mind struggling to comprehend what he had just said. No one had lived here since the 1960s, but she had been here for years. Or had she? As the officers led her outside, Lisa glanced back at the house, her home. The windows were dark, lifeless, and at the top of the stairs, a shadow moved. The door slammed shut behind her, and the house whispered,
Home alone forever.